Today, why are there less video cards in the market? Why are we having stock issues? Let's get into it. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Adrian Reddix, and today we're talking about why is there a video card shortage worldwide. To me, it's a five-fold issue. 1, scalpers. 2, miners. 3, manufacturers. 4, retail. And 5, overall demand. So let's go through each one of those and see why we're having the issues we're having today. Number 1, scalpers, or as I call them, resellers, because that's what they do. They resell. I have friends who are resellers, and let me tell you that they are motivated by the things that you don't think they're motivated by. Some people think they're motivated by just sticking it to people, or they're trying to scam people, or they're trying to get as much money as possible, which, that's what businesses do. That's what people who make money do. To me, there is what I'm calling a reseller's triangle. You have scarcity, significant profit, and demand. What does that mean? To me, it's like a fire triangle. If one of these don't exist, resellers are not interested. I've seen my friends sell roach spray. I've seen them sell squishies, like the plushies. If it has those 3 elements, then that's what makes it attractive to them. And video cards are very attractive to them. Because let's just take the triangle. Let's go to scarcity. If it's not scarce, then either demand is being met or there's not enough profit for anybody to sell it. Let's go to significant profit. If you buy something for $300 and only make $1 off of it, is it worth your time? More than likely, no. But if you buy something for $300 and you sell it for $5, then we're talking about different numbers. So let's go to demand. If there's no demand, then the scarcity and the significant profit makes no sense. So all 3 of these things have to come together in a reseller's business or mindset to get them to even want to do that. And that's the perfect storm when we're talking about video cards at this current moment. 2, it's going to be miners. Crypto miners to be exact, not the gold rush miners. Why is it so attractive for them to have video cards? Well, you have to understand a little bit about how crypto mining works. I'm gonna give you a very high level understanding of mining. If you want a more detailed level of what mining is, I'll have a video in the description below. So it'll give you more detail and give you a more in-depth view. So mining is a bunch of computers doing calculations to come up with an answer, which is overly simple. But let me go a little deeper. So you have these things called hashes. And hashes are, you could put whatever length of word into this hashing algorithm and they'll give you a fixed input. So for example, we're going to use a hashing algorithm called SHA-3. So whatever length of word you put into this hashing algorithm, you get a fixed length. So you put a 1 letter in there and you'll get, let's just say 16 characters. That's not what SHA-3 does, but let's look at that. We'll put Apple in the input box, and in the output box, you get this fixed string. It's going to be the same number of letters and numbers. But let's just say we just add a period to it, it drastically changes it. And that's what the key of hashing is. So if you wanted to, let's say, go download something from the internet, and let's say they had the hashing output, you can have your own little hashing algorithm to put your program through. And if it doesn't match up, somewhere in the transition, it got intercepted and changed. So it's to protect you. Crypto mining works a lot like that. Let's say the blockchain comes up with a hash. So all the computers are calculating to try to see if they can come up with the hash. And once one of them comes up with the hash, they verify with what they call proof of work. And then that miner gets the cryptocurrency or the coin, right? What makes GPUs or video cards so special is, unlike their counterparts, CPUs, they handle video processing so quickly. So they're always calculating whatever the next frame is. And let's just, for example, let's say that CPUs can process 8 algorithms per second. That's not true, but we're just saying that. Your video cards can do something like 32 or 40 per second. So it's so significant that if you have a bunch of them doing these algorithm or these calculations, the quicker you can get currency, the quicker you can get to coins, right? So that's what makes them so attractive. And that's why you'll see these rigs with a bunch of GPUs on it that aren't going to gamers or people that use them. But we'll get to that later. The third one is going to be manufacturers. When we're talking about chips to go into these video cards, there's only two companies that can produce these types of chips. And that's going to be Samsung Foundries and TSMC. So when you only have two companies that produce all these chips, not only just for video cards, they produce chips for cars. That's why they're having to shut down car plants around the world. They produce them for your iPhone. They produce chips for Intel. They produce all these types of chips only coming from two places. So when you have worldwide demand and you have cars that have, I don't know, 20 or 25 boards in them, and you have phones and you have all these other things that use chips, they're at capacity. They can't produce more. They will want to produce more, but they can't. So you see that Samsung and TSMC are opening up more factories in the US to handle the demand, because this nobody saw coming. You have to think that if you're a company, you can't just have a bunch of stock just sitting out there. So you have to predict how much you think you're going to sell. Usually companies are pretty good at this. They predict how much they're going to sell. Sometimes they'll go whatever percentage over what they think just to have enough. And, you know, they make these decisions a year or even longer in advance because, you know, it takes a long time to produce all these chips, and it's just good business practice not to make decisions the day before you have to make them. So, but these companies just can't produce more. They're at the capacity and they just can't do it. The fourth one is going to be retail. So let's look at the 70 model of the NVIDIA chipset, like the 970, 1070, 2070, 3070. When each one of these launched, let's say the 970 launched in 2014 at $329. Okay, that's fine. So in 2016, when the 1070 launched, it was $379. I expect prices to go up in the industry, right? In 2070, the price jumped to $599. And the reason being, I believe that NVIDIA said that the process of making, I don't know if when they added ray tracing or what it was, or the new architecture, that it was more expensive to produce. And and the whole chipset from the lowest to the highest was a higher initial price. But whenever the new 3070s came out, it was for $499. So the prices of these things keep going up. But just because this is the price that's listed doesn't mean that's the price they're being sold at. Everybody always talks about MSRP. MSRP means manufacturer suggested retail price. If I'm a retailer and I'm selling video cards and there's a shortage, this is basic economics, prices go up. If the demand is high and stock is low, prices go up. So some people get priced out of certain cards that they would have. So that $499 for a 3070 isn't set in stone. There's only certain tech companies that I know that this is the price, you don't change it. And Apple is one of them. When I used to work for Verizon, we couldn't sell the iPhone for less than this. And we couldn't sell it for more. This was the price. This is what you had to sell it at. If you didn't, you were in violation of the contract. A lot of tech companies aren't like that. This is a suggested price. So by raising the price, if I'm a retailer, why not? I could raise the price to whatever I want to. In this market, people buy anything. Even if it's not something they need, any video card is fine. So that raising the price kind of prices a lot of people out. And the last thing I think is the most important thing. Without this, none of the other four things matter. And that's overall demand. You got to think what has happened in the last year. We've had a panorama, right? We've had just increased demand. You got to think, if you look at Steam, a lot of people using this Steam chart, and it's a very good chart. If you look at Steam, you'll see that most of the people playing video games on Steam, at least, are using the 1060 or a 10 series card. To me, every 4 to 5 years, people are replacing computers. That's what I do. That's the schedule I keep them on. I build it up to be a okay computer. Not okay, so it's gonna be above average. And every 4 to 5 years, I change it. So if I built a computer when the 10 series came out in 2016, 2020 is about when you're thinking about replacing it. So you had increased demand because people were replacing them for gaming. But when people think about video cards, they only think about gaming. You gotta think of all the other aspects that you need video cards for. People that do video editing or graphic design or CAD, all these people use video cards too. It's not just a gaming thing. So if more people working from home, they're gonna need better cards and better computers. So the demand just exploded, and the demand must still be there, because if you go to the eBay section with these overpriced cars, you'll still see people paying astronomical prices for these cars. $15,000, $2,000 for a 3070 or 2080s, 3080s or 3090s are just ridiculous with the price that people are still paying for. So the demand is there that people are paying 3 to 4 times above MSRP, the suggested retail price. And if you also look at the Steam list, 4 out of the 10 cards are 1,000 series cards. So those cards are getting to an age where people are gonna want to play more games. 1440p is becoming the norm when it comes to games. 1080p is still good, and you still get some good gameplay out of it, but people want higher resolution when it comes to games. And those cards just aren't the best to do that. And also, you got to think, streaming has become immensely popular over the past year, and people need that to stream also. And it's not just streaming video games. You got people streaming conferences. You got people selling clothes. Whatever the streaming is, you have all this pent up demand. And that, to me, is the biggest reason why we're having stock shortages. If you look at this John Petty research that I saw on Linus Tech videos, and I went to the John Petty research website, and it said, hey, you could buy it, and it was $5,000. I'm not going to pay $5,000. You can see that per quarter, demand keeps rising. And the companies, unfortunately, can't keep up with demand. And that's the real reason why we have stock issues. Demand. What can you do to get a video card? There's only 4 things you can do if you want a video card. The first one is whenever a drop happens. So whenever a new video card comes out, you can get out there and hopefully click fast enough to beat the bots or the hundreds and hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of other people who are trying to get it at the same time. So you're fighting millions of people and bots. Some people get lucky. I know a friend who got the 3060 on launch day. It was just luck. 2, pay the resale cost. I wouldn't suggest that, but if you want a video card today, you can pay 3 to 4 times suggested retail price and get one. 3, you can play the lottery. Newegg has something called a shuffle. It's a lottery. 1, you don't know how many video cards they have. And 2, they don't tell you anything about it. You just know that you put your name in there and they'll automatically draw it. Other companies might do this also to try to address stock issues and put video cards in the hands of gamers, which, again, gamers aren't the only people who use video cards. Buy pre-built. Or wait. That's what I'm going to do. It's just wait. It sucks. In the climate we're in today, that's really the only viable option. Hey guys, that's it. If you like this type of video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this type of video, give me a thumbs down. Tell me why you didn't like this type of video. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one.